He says, what do you think the best position of Paul Pogba is? Now then, there's been a lot of debate about this, hasn't there? He's been playing midfield 2. He's played in a midfield 3. He's played maybe as a number 10 at times. Where would you like to see him play?
The reason why Man United paid £90 million for Paul Pogba is because he's a free spirit, in all honesty. So he needs to be given the platform to go and express himself.
Well, Mourinho let him do that because he's very regimental, and you play here, you play there.
I felt he did at the start of the season. Okay. I really did. And now with people have been saying about Sanchez affecting Martial and affecting Rashford, it might have had an effect on Paul Pogba because he now finds himself in a starting position of a defensive midfield.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's probably that side, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he wants to play there, really, doesn't he? I mean, obviously, Matic's left-footed as well, but Pogba wants to play off that left-hand side, doesn't he? And that doesn't really suit him.
No.
Does it?
For me, his position should be here, I think. I don't know, Lingard wouldn't play there. You'd have to swap Lingard with...
Well, McTominay.
McTominay, perhaps. He's only played 7 games for Man United, but he's obviously an up-and-coming young talent. I mean, Lukaku, they spent 75 million, and Pogba, 90 million. Do you know, Sanchez is a big 50 million. Yeah. He's got to try and cram all these players in, and you'd probably say McTominay won't play, and Pogba will play here where he doesn't want to play, where he can't free up, he can't dominate games. I mean, I was in the studio when we done the Everton game, and that game, Paul Pogba took the game at the scruff of the neck, and he showed, I'm Paul Pogba. That's why they paid 90 million. But going to the Newcastle game, he just looked uninterested to me. He didn't look as if he wanted to be there, and I don't know if something's going on between him and the manager, away from the game. I don't know, but he doesn't seem right mentally.
I see what you're saying, but I don't see him as a number 10. I think he's a midfield
player. I don't mean a number 10. Yeah, I mean like on the front of a diamond.
But I think he prefers to come in these.
So at Juventus, he played this side of a 3, didn't he? Like that. It was a midfield 3 like that.
That's, I think, is his perfect position.
That's his best position.
His best position.
Does it suit Man United?
That's the biggest question. I'm worried, because when you look at all these attacking players they have, there's so many players wanting to bomb forward. Matic can't do all the work on his own. He's left exposed, and that's the issue that I think Mourinho has.
Sanchez caused a bit of a problem as well.
Yeah,
coming into the team on that left-hand side, because Martial wants to play there.
Yeah.
Rashford, who's out of the team, wants to play there. Both happy on that left-hand side.
Yeah, look, he has caused a problem, but it's a problem I'd like to have. And I think Mourinho is still looking for the balance of his team. You've got to remember they still are second in the Premier League, so it's a nice problem to have. But he's got to get Paul Pogba in the right position to dovetail with Sanchez, because they're going to be key to Man United going forward and eventually challenging Man City. He's got to have both them in the side, but at the moment it's not working.
They've missed him as well when he's been out of the team through injury and suspension, etc. But what's been the problem in the last couple of games then, Leroy?
Well, this is against Tottenham, and we're just picking him up here, and what he likes to do is just run. And you just see him there, it's just playing, and it's great, it's fantastic. I'm just going to pause it here, Matt. But where Mourinho actually wants him...
Is that okay? Is that all right? You happy with that?
Right. Yeah, I like that. I want players to get forward. There's only 3 players in the box. There's plenty of players behind the ball. But I think Jose wants a player who's going to be in that position.
Well, we spoke earlier, didn't we, about Dembele and Dyer, and how as a 2, they just sit, don't they? That's not the case with Paul Pogba, is it?
No, absolutely not. And I'm just looking... You're looking at Dembele getting the ball here. Now... It's caused a problem.
Massive problem
for Matic.
Well, Matic said, does he have to go? Does he go? Does he release himself?
No, he can't.
He can't. But what Paul Pogba does there, he actually chases Dembele down. Just watch his reaction here, because he does do a good job, and he gets back into that hole and makes Dembele go backwards, which is fine. He does it okay. But here, just look at his position. I'm just going to pause it here. Here's Matic.
Yeah.
And what you want? Just going to get rid of that. What you want is your midfield player next to him. And look at Paul Pogba. He's ahead of the ball. He just needs to be there. We're only talking about a few yards.
How many times have we covered Spurs tactically and said, that is the area they're looking to get in?
Yeah.
So that's why you've got to have that 2, really, blocking off that
we
path.
go back to the discipline. Is he disciplined? We talk about Dembele at the top of the show, how disciplined he is in that position. Is Paul Pogba disciplined? He drop back in there and help Matty side by side, because... When we play it on, he actually gets taken out of the game here. He makes the wrong decision. He goes towards the ball, and now look, when he gets the ball here, that's you want Paul Pogba in that space.
Exactly.
He's actually making it an easy option for Tottenham, vacating that space.
And the knock-on effect is problem for Matic, problem for the back 4. They can't come out, and the team is defending on the edge of their box. The 2 passes on the edge of the box with a crossing opportunity.
Yeah, pick the ball up in that number 10 position.
Hey, just see him outside the game. They haven't got a problem with that, because they're in possession. They give the ball away. But the reaction and the recovery run, we talk about recovery run. Now, recovery run isn't just running back fast, it's also running back into the right position. Now, where he should recover is into this sort of area to get himself between the ball and the goal. Putting it simple, between the ball and the goal. So if they're going to go anywhere, they go wide.
He doesn't need to run here,
no,
because that's looked after. That's absolutely fine. So he doesn't need to make that run. He does, as you quite rightly say, needs to get himself into this sort of position here.
Yeah,
I think.
Just to encourage the ball to go sideways. He doesn't, and as you play it on there, Matty, they get into position. And I'm just going to pause it here. Now you see, because he's not in that position,
Matic has been dragged out.
Matic is now being dragged out into this area here, and it leaves a great.
He was in a good position, Matic, before.
Yeah.
Because the ball shifted and the player shifted, and Pogba's out in the wrong position. He's getting dragged across there. Now there's massive space here, as Leroy says. So Matic is all over the place, and Pogba, he's not disciplined enough to help him out. And
we've talked about Dembele being a good ball carrier as well. And he runs into that space, doesn't he? That's been left.
And they're into the back foot, and again the ball goes wide. And they're in a crossing position, and it's just about a poor starting position, and that's why he was dragged off against Tottenham.
But Newcastle, is it any different?
He carried it on into Newcastle, but in this game as well, just in possession, he was just really poor. Just gave the ball away. I mean, that's sloppy. It's not
like him, is it?
No.
This Newcastle game, he just didn't seem right. I don't know, injured or illness. I don't know. He just didn't seem himself. He didn't know the Pogba's the Everton game a few weeks back. He was phenomenal, and he kind of showed a disinterest for the whole game, as if he didn't want to be there. Now I don't know. There's some reports that Sanchez has come in and upset the apple cart, and maybe that's what Guardiola didn't want to touch him for different reasons. But I wouldn't like to think that's because of money or wages and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, Newcastle, he was totally uninterested in the whole game.
In that game, he had 58 touches,
wow.
And that's where his touches were, all over the pitch in that game. Now, I was listening to Graham Souness, and he was talking about a central midfield player. He said a central midfield player should play within that 18-yard box.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the pitch. There's a lot of touches, isn't there, on the outside of that?
Absolutely. And what concerns me here, Matty, is, okay, lots of touches, there's only one in the box.
Yeah.
So he was giving the ball away so often.
He's not a number 10 then.
He's not a number 10.
Yeah.
He wants to go and play. So how can you put him in a situation where he's holding? I think that spark has gone from his eyes. You know, that little mischievous spark, you know, that you want from Paul Pogba, because that's what makes him play. He does things differently. You don't know what he's going to do. And just restricting his play, I think he's just tugging against Mourinho, and as Mourinho's dragging him off.
There's something not right. There's something not right. And this diagram especially, he's burning up energy, running out here, running wide, and he's losing stuff in the middle, and he has to improve in that side of the game.
We had a lot of questions about Sir Scott McTominay, and would that help Paul Pogba? Potentially.
I think if they were to bring him in as well as...
That's what I meant. So McTominay, Pogba and Matic in the midfield, say, for instance.
I like McTominay. I've heard a few people saying they really rate him as a player. 6'4", really strong as well. I'll tell you why I was really impressed. There was a challenge. I mean, he went down. He really did go down. I thought he was going to be stretched. He got up, dusted himself down and got on playing with it. Now that's just a lot better.
I mean, the thing is, we said before, there's so many superstars in Manchester United. You know, how do you fit all these players? And McTominay could come in, and that's another superstar's nose put out, sitting on the bench. You know, it's just it's sort of juggling all these balls. I know, so be it, but Mourinho needs to get it right. And at Newcastle, it was clear it wasn't ticking.
I think we're all decided, though, aren't we? Pogba, best in a three on the left-hand side of a three.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
and his attitude needs to be a bit better, I think, than the Newcastle.